Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS producer Sydney Bowles, BNEWS reporters Robert Paris, Tad Stefanak, and John Vias. BHS graduate Anthony Matos, congratulations Anthony, on sports. Gretchen Carey with the community calendar and Peter Brown with the weather. Thank you for joining us. We begin with a very busy week in school news. Another class of students has finished their education at Burlington High School and stepped into the next chapter of their lives. Robert Paris has this look at their graduation ceremony.
It was an end of an era for the class of 2024 as they attended their graduation ceremony at Varsity Field on June 2nd.
I think this class has handled themselves incredibly well. They even coordinated their speeches, which is something they don't need to do. So this class always goes above and beyond, and just really proud of them. It was a great day. Really demonstrated the sort of the unity of this class and the resilience of this class.
The one thing that we can't control is the weather, and so when that works in our favor, it always makes the day a little better and less stressful. But our custodial and maintenance departments do a great job helping us set up today. Ms. Northrup and Mr. Sheehan do a terrific job coordinating it. Ms. Bory in the main office. So team effort, but it was a terrific day. All came together without a hitch, and we had a great day celebrating the class of 24.
I loved what Colin Irwin had to say about making decisions with your heart. I think that's a really important message for all of us, to make sure that we're doing things that we want to do and not just going through the motions every day, and just remember to do things that make you happy.
It was an opportunity for class officers to show what they have learned in their time at BHS.
But there's always going to be a next step. Maybe not college, but there will always be something you tell yourself you're working towards so that when you're done, your heart has full control over your time.
Our resilience and adaptability as a class have shown that we can overcome the challenges we will face in the future. And as we celebrate today, it's important to recognize the people who have been instrumental in helping us through our obstacles and towards our successes. I would like to start out by thanking my family for all they have given me. To my parents, thank you for instilling in me an appreciation for learning and teaching me the value of setting a goal and working towards it. Your love and encouragement before every game, test, or difficulty is something I will always be grateful for.
No matter what paths the graduates take, it is up to them to do what makes them happy, says class essayist Shreya Iyer.
As graduates, we have gained a clarity of our own. Clarity of purpose, clarity of passion, clarity of direction, or the clarity that we need more clarity. We've discovered what drives us, what excites us, what interests us, and what paths we will pursue. This clarity will guide us as we step into the next phase of our lives. However, our life will continue to polish and refine us, and we too must seek that clarity through regular reflection of our paths, our journeys, and of our experiences.
Valedictorian Matt Shannon wanted everyone to stay healthy and safe throughout their futures.
And most importantly, take care of yourself. The best way to be prepared, the best way to be the highest spade in the deck, is to live your life authentically. Be kind, be safe, and thank you for your time.
I want to congratulate everyone from the class of 2024. From Varsity Field, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
3, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the real world. The graduating class was treated to a Burlington tradition, the all-night graduation party. Returning reporter John Vias reports it's as much a night of fun as it is a way to keep graduates safe.
Every year at Burlington High School, the graduating seniors celebrate the end of their high school careers with the all-night grad party, a long-time annual BHS tradition run entirely by parents and volunteers.
We're a nonprofit of our own, so we've fundraised for 12 months of the year to make this event happen. This year, our event has tipped over to over $20,000 to run the event. We have a DJ, we have karaoke, we have casino tables that include blackjack and poker.
Reporter Anthony Matos talks to the class of 2024 about their memories of their high school experience.
Going around the halls with my friends, having a lot of classes with a lot of my friends, just being able to have fun, just this is a fun place.
The musicals that I was in over the years and the friends that I made along the way in my cast and chorus, and there's like numerous musical memories that I can talk about.
Most recently, probably field night. I mean, it was pretty simple, but just having everyone together, that was awesome. It was great to have everyone like playing games and stuff.
In addition to billiards, air hockey, and foosball, among a variety of recreational recreational activities, comic hypnotist Frank Santos Jr. came back to BHS to perform his annual hypnotist show with the graduates.
Hello. Again? Spell that. Essie. Hello. What's the matter? What's that? Tongue stuck? Is that all right? Can you fix it? Oh, you said please. Watch. I snap my fingers and goes back to mom. The smile is awesome. All right.
And Principal Mark Sullivan shares his memories with the class of 2024.
You started, I think, like fully remote and then hybrid your sophomore year, so you squeezed 4 years of high school into 2 years. So I'll always remember the class of 2024 as being really resilient and persevering through difficult times, but making the most out of it. So great class. You know, every year brings a lot of different challenges and ups and downs, but I think in general you all were great. A lot of high moments through athletics and the performing arts and different activities. So it was just a great year.
Congratulations to the class of 2024. From the Burlington High School cafeteria with Anthony Matos, this is John Vias for BNEWS.
Burlington Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Eric Conte, stopped by BCAT not too long ago to talk about the end of the school year and how his administration handles all the to-do items to come out of May's town meeting. Here he is.
Sometimes we leave there and we say, oh, we were successful, and then we look at each other and say, were we really successful? Like, wish we had fewer things to focus on. Bob Cuna, who's Director of Operations, really does a remarkable job organizing all the projects. And remember, we also have projects that were approved last May that are just getting to the to the implementation stage this summer. We have a very narrow window to do some of these projects to the buildings when the students aren't there. So we really have, 8 to 10 weeks to knock it out, and again, requires a lot of pre-planning. And we try to get everything done that we can ahead of the funding. And then, once the funding becomes available July 1st, we want to make sure contractors are lined up, materials are lined up, and we can move forward as quickly as we can. So again, Bob and his staff, maintenance staff, do a great job of that.
You can watch the full interview at bcattv.org. One of Burlington's high school's many clubs is Tenacity Challenge, which is a competition for primarily Black and Latino students in urban and suburban Massachusetts schools. Several Burlington Tenacity students excelled at their recent statewide competition, and Sydney Bowles has more.
The Tenacity Challenge team, operating under the name Renaissance Razzle Dazzle, secured 2 awards for their work this year.
On the competition day, we won 2nd place in history and then 3rd place in literature. And I'm especially happy about literature because literature, that was the #1 section that I mainly worked on. And when I mean worked on, I mean I made the script, I got the idea, I did the directing, I did the editing.
To use a more race-neutral system because I feel like many individuals who are overly qualified aren't getting into the new school.
The video was based around the annual theme, affirmative action. Nancy and her teammate Salma Benhita shared their experience with the school committee not too long ago.
Last year they didn't let me do anything, so I'm happy this year I was able to take over the entire literature part and create a film that won 3rd place, and then of course help Salma with her history part that won 2nd. And I'm Ugandan and I'm a junior. Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking over. It sounds like
Worked out.
that's awesome, and I'm sure your advisors appreciated that leadership, and that you're representing the entire community of Burlington at these competitions just means so much.
We gotta consider Well, I was hoping we could take a more legal side and use the Supreme Court case Gutter versus Bollinger and University of California Regents versus Blake to show the determining effects of race being used as a factor.
Congratulations to Team Renaissance Razzle Dazzle and the other teams on their success in the competition. For BNews Weekly, I'm Sydney Bowles.
Juliana McGrain contributed to that report. The Burlington Sculpture Park is gearing up for its summer fundraiser, Pigs on Parade, in which companies can sponsor pig statues to be painted to represent their business or industry. The pigs, of course, are meant to represent Burlington's agricultural past. Some businesses commission artists from Burlington's Talent High School art program, with the students coming up with designs, getting approval from their clients, and working in teams to bring their visions to life. Officer Kalisa here is pictured working on a pig for Reamer and Bronstein, inspired by the artwork of Vincent van Gogh. Onyx Hopkins had the winning design for this pig. Pigs and the law firm also sponsored this pig and allowed the students to paint it however they liked. Here we can see Dove Jimenez working on a pig they're calling Pablo Picasso. I can see why. To quote E.B. White, those are some pigs. Pigs on Parade launches Saturday, June 22nd at 10 a.m. on the Burlington Town Common. Burlington High School students aren't the only ones working on end-of-year projects and competing with other schools. Students at Shawshene Valley Technical High School, which serves Burlington and neighboring towns, are going to Skills USA. That's a national competition for students in vocational programs. Nicole Hatch is a Burlington resident and Shawshene Junior who's going to the Skills USA Nationals. She'll be competing in the Health Bowl. She says it's a competition where students answer Jeopardy-style questions about anatomy, pathology, and current events in health news. She says she's excited to represent Burlington at Skills USA in Atlanta. We wish Nicole and the other competitors best of luck. And the Burlington Science Center is celebrating a major milestone. It's been 40 years since its founder, John Papadonis, got the center off the ground. Today, the Science Center offers hands-on science lessons to Burlington students and teaches valuable lessons about facing your fears, caring for others, and finding value in all living things. Happy anniversary to the Service Center and its staff. Burlington's LGBTQ community and allies turned out with bells or maybe rainbows on the 4th annual Town Pride celebration. It was the first year to feature a scholarship awarded to an LGBT student. Sydney Bowles has more.
From incredible performances to face painting to resources for the community, Burlington's 4th annual Pride was a dazzling success. Organizer Carrie Abramov says this year it felt like Pride was taking on a life of its own.
People were seeking it out, people were asking how they can help ahead of time, like everybody knew it was happening, and so it didn't feel as, I mean, it was super overwhelming in the beginning, as you can imagine, but I had my people already looking, when is it going to be, what can we do to help, which was so great.
I love this Pride. I mean, it's so cute, it's really intimate in a way that some of the bigger prides aren't.
This was the first year that the Pride celebration also presented a scholarship to an LGBTQ student graduating this year.
The co-founder of this event was my late husband, Leo Abramov, and he died of stomach cancer at the age of 36 last March. We received a lot of money through a GoFundMe, and what I decided to do with that money was open a nonprofit organization called Leo's Legacy, and our mission is to help support the LGBTQIA youth, specifically to this community. So one of the first orders of business is a scholarship that we were able to present this year for the first time, a $1,000 scholarship to a high school senior graduating who sort of exemplifies the ideas of kindness and authenticity.
So the scholarship was in memory of Leo, who was Carrie's husband, and it was awarded to an LGBTQ member of Burlington. I identify as lesbian, and so I wrote about, there's a whole thing with like the middle school last year, so I touched about that a little bit, and then I also talked about how I'm in a majority straight friend group, so talking about how like isolating that is sometimes.
I want to thank the people who help, both financially and with their time. We have a committee that's amazing that starts working probably 8 months before we start, and do everything behind the scenes and then show up today, make it all happen. And without that committee and the volunteers here, this could not happen. So I am super grateful for all of them.
Happy Pride! Happy Pride from the Burlington Public Library! Happy Pride! Woo-hoo!
Happy Pride, Burlington. For BNEWS Weekly, I'm Sydney Bowles.
We now return to the Burlington Community Garden, where we're following Master Gardener Peter Coppola through this summer's growing season. This time, he gives tips and examples of the garden's initial plantings.
So if you're planning to grow any kind of squash or pumpkin this year, you need to understand species. Plants of a different species will not cross-pollinate. And squash plants, winter squash, summer squash, they come in 3 species. So when you look at the package, it says right on the label what the species is. So the first thing I do is make my mounds, and then the second thing I do is top dress with just a little bit of fertilizer. Now, fertilizer is a condiment. It's not a main meal. So you don't need to go crazy with fertilizer. And after we get the seed down, we take our planting stick, and I plant my seed 12 inches apart. So using my planting stick, I don't have to measure, I don't have to think. I just work my way down the row, putting my seed in, and then once that's done, I just press it down about 1 knuckle, and that's it. After that, we'll water it in. Now let's go talk a little bit about potatoes. So here at the garden, we have over 200 row feet of potatoes. So we only have 40 pounds of potatoes, but not 40 or 200 seed potatoes. So I had to cut them in half. So what you do when you look at the potatoes, you search for eyes. This is an eye, that's an eye, this is an eye. This is where the stem will come up. So I took the potato, cut it in half, let it dry for a couple of days, and then brought it to the garden. Once you get it in, I use my planting stick to get my spacing, and now I just get it, cover it up a little bit, and we're gonna let it grow. I'm not gonna do anything else until they start to sprout. But once they are planted, I want to just make the soil slightly acidic. And for that, I use ammonium sulfate, and I just put a little bit. So I just want to make the soil slightly acidic. That will help prevent scab and other diseases on the potatoes as they grow. Now further up, we have some volunteers. These are potatoes that were growing last year but did not get harvested. So right now there's a potato, and this is all of the sprouts I was talking about. So this is where the new potatoes will grow off of these stems. So as the potatoes are growing, we're going to backfill and just try to keep those stems underground so the potatoes will develop. So if you have any potatoes at home that are sprouting, you can plant them in the garden and have potatoes this year. Garden is very large, so we need to take advantage of as much organic matter as we can. So whenever somebody offers us wood chips, we take that opportunity to spread them in between the rows. It keeps the weeds down, and it helps maintain moisture in the soil for the plants growing in the beds. Over time, they break down, and I call it composting in place. So every once in a while, we take the opportunity when we know that we're going to get new wood chips to rake out the rows and then spread the partially decomposed wood chips in the planting beds. They're not completely broken down, but they're broken down enough so they're not going to impede the growth of the vegetables. But the best part is now we have more organic matter in and around the plant roots.
Speaking of the natural world, the Conservation Department has an easy way for you to get involved. They're updating their hazard mitigation plan, and they want to know what's important to you. A survey out now asks you to prioritize which natural hazards concern you most and how your household prepares for potential danger. You can find the survey on the department's Facebook page, Burlington Conservation. And before we turn to the latest in sports, as Burlington athletes take on their playoff games, there's one final way to get involved. The Fox Hill Building Project has been chugging along, getting ready to seek funding in the coming months, and they're holding a forum to update the community. The forum is virtual, and it's planned for Wednesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. You can find the details and the link to the WebEx on the town's website, burlington.org. All right, now it's time for our graduate, Anthony Matos with sports. Anthony,
hey everyone, I'm Anthony Matos, and this weekly sports report. The playoffs continue at Burlington High School. The softball team season came to an end after a 12-0 shutout loss to Somerset Berkeley Regional in the round of 32 of the MIAA playoffs on June 1st. Seniors departing from the team are Morgan Ryan, Abu Atazik, Shane McDonald, and Charlotte Williams. Burlington baseball won 4-2 against Scituate in the preliminary round of the playoffs on June 1st. The Devil season was over after a 12-1 loss against Plymouth South in the round of 32 on June 3rd. Graduating seniors are Peyton Mata and Nolan Lopes. We were at Varsity Field for the round of 32 games. Let's go to the highlights.
Girls and boys lacrosse had home playoff games in the round of 32 against Canton and Martha's Vineyard Regional. Let's start with the girls. In the first quarter, Burlington scored 5 goals while Canton added 1. As the second quarter went on, the Devils added another 5 goals and their opponent with 1, 10-2 at the half. In the third, the Devils slowed the game down a bit, but scored 3 goals in the process, while they allowed 2 goals to Canton defensively, 13-4. In the end, Burlington came out on top in the fourth with another 3 goals and Canton with 2. 16-6. After a long trip from the Cape, Martha's Vineyard Regional made it to Varsity Field against Burlington. The Devils kept MVR scoreless in the first after a 7-0 lead. The Devils' defense allowed 1 goal for MVR in the second. Offensively, the Devils added another 7 goals, 14-1 at half. 3 goals were added by the Devils in the third, while their opponent added 4. 17-5 was the final.
The girls' season came to an end after a 12-3 loss to Duxbury in the round of 16 on June 5th. In the round of 16, the boys were home against Drake. We go to the highlights.
In the round of 16, Drake paid a visit to Burlington for a tense and exciting playoff game. In the first quarter, the Devils scored 3 goals, while their opponent added 1. Both teams added 1 goal in the second quarter, 4-2 Devils. It was a 1-point difference between the two teams as the Devils scored 1 goal in the third quarter, and Drake had 2, 5-4 Devils. The MVP of the game was Burlington goalie Quinn McDonald, who made an impressive save on a power play goal from Drake, helping the Devils in their win. Burlington commanded an impressive lead in the final quarter, adding 4 goals to Drake's 2, bringing the final score to 9-6.
Burlington will be competing against Falmouth in the Elite Eight on June 7th. Updates next week. Boys tennis will be moving on to the Elite Eight after a 5-0 win over Walpole in the round of 16 on June 3rd. The boys were in Duxbury for the Elite Eight round on June 5th, but their season came to a close after a 4-1 loss. Aditya Pathak won his match in the singles. Pathak, Andrew Pearl, Arnesh Yola, Ethan Nguyen, and Alex Xavier Locke have graduated. Boys track competed in the MIA Meet of Champions at Fitchburg State on May 30th through June 1st. Ryan Brooks was the top finisher in the pentathlon, while Chris Williams and Julian Saka both competed as top 24 throwers in the shot put. In addition, Julian Saka earned a Middlesex League All-Conference honor at the ML12 Championship, while Ryan Burks earned honors for javelin and shot put. Brooks was also named the MVP of the Middlesex League Freedom. 13 athletes also named ML Freedom All-Stars: Sean Cox, Dylan Giles, Colin Irwin, Krish Almeida, Cam Matson, Alex Murray, Ishan Gasangra, Rohan Duda, Leon Sakandi, Shane Sheehan, Chris Williams, Kevin Conti, and Ethan Tedesco. The MSTCA North Pentathlon was held on June 3rd and 4th at Varsity Field. Irwin, Brooks, Ryan Latchford, Conti, Tedesco, Murray, and Desmond attended. Burlington came in first place, with Brooks placing 3rd, Murray 5th, and Desmond 9th. Other winners were Irwin, Tedesco, and Latchford. Boys volleyball defeated the Academy of the Pacific Rim 3-0 in the preliminary round of the playoffs on May 31st. The Devils were shut out 3-0 by Marlborough in the round of 32 on June 4th, ending the season. Best of luck to the seniors graduating the team: Matt Shannon, Ryan Marcasoli, John Joseph, Nathaniel Chow, Ayush Agarwal, and Tony Matthew. For more Red Devil action, go to bcattv.org/sports and check out our Twitter page at BNEWS Sports. That's all for now. Anthony Matos back again in the studio.
A wet and cooler week ahead, says weatherman Peter Brown in this week's forecast. And stay tuned for your community calendar with Gretchen Carey.
Well, hello everyone, this is Peter Brown with the look at your weather for the next 7 days. Starting at our period on Friday, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year as we round out the first full week of June in the upper 70s near 80. And unfortunately for those of us who really like the warm summer weather, it doesn't look like we're going to have a ton of that coming up for the next 7 to 10 days. We may have to wait until we get to the end of next work week to see those really warm temperatures move in here. And as we get towards the end of our period next week on June 13th, next Thursday, again, we should be seeing temperatures at this time of the year probably around 80 into the low 80s. And that's where we're pretty much going to end up. Looks like by the time we get to Thursday, it may be just around average or a little bit above. But we do have a week's worth of time to go before we get there. And of course, as you look at our length of day, we are just about at the top of how long our days get now. We're only going to be adding about 4 more minutes of daylight until we reach the official start of summer in a couple of weeks. Thereafter, the length of day will start getting short again. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center is calling for us in terms of temperatures and precipitation for the next 7 to 10 days. Looking at our temperature map, they are calling for us and actually a large portion of the country to have a chance of below average temperatures. I'm certainly seeing that, especially as we start out our weekend and getting into the start of our work week. And going with that too, our precipitation chances looks like we are expecting above average precipitation. Unfortunately, I am seeing that as well. So it looks like we're going to have a cooler and wetter start to June than we had anticipated and that we really wanted around here in the Burlington area. Now, as we go ahead, let's take a look at those 7 days of weather coming up. And again, starting out a period on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the whole weekend, there really isn't much in terms of change of weather. Temperatures are going to be staying in the low to mid 70s. We're going to see a decent chance of showers every day, maybe even some steadier light rain on a couple of days. We're going to have to keep an eye on that, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the most wonderful of weekends here in June. Looks like you're going to have that umbrella pretty handy. Going to be kind of muggy out there as well with that rain around. Now, starting out your work week again, Monday and Tuesday, weather doesn't change again too much. Looks like that unsettled weather is going to stay around with us. Temperatures in the low to mid 70s, and again, a decent shot of showers. But as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, it looks like we're going to finally dry out a little bit. Our temperatures should get back up to near normal, and maybe by Thursday, maybe a little bit above normal. We'll have to keep on that, but it looks like it's going to be fairly pleasant as we round out the period with those sunny skies coming out, chasing the clouds away. So everyone, get out there, enjoy the weather, and have a great week.
This is Pepper, and you are watching BCAT.
Hey everyone, I'm Gretchen Carey, and this is your Community Calendar. On June 13th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., the Burlington Fire and Police will be having a Battle of the Badges blood draw at Grandview Farm. Call the Red Cross number at 1-800-RED-CROSS or go to redcrossblood.org to make an appointment. On June 15th, from 3 to 4 p.m., the Burlington Public Library will be having a 6th grade welcome and ice cream social. Enjoy ice cream sundaes and learn about the teen summer program and more. Beginning on June 17th from 7 to 8 a.m., the Parks and Recreation Department will be having an outdoor total body blast at the TRW Outdoor Fitness Court. To register, go to the Parks and Recreation website. For more community calendar events, go to bcattv.org, burlingtonpubliclibrary.org, and burlingtonrecreation.org. I'm Gretchen Carey, and that was your community calendar.
And as we do each week, we're finishing up with a photo sent in by a member of the community, Christina Nikitas, who is a regular volunteer in our production crew here at BNEWS Weekly, sent in this photo of the garden club sprucing up the town common with blooms. If you're a planter and want to learn more about it, the garden club is looking for members. You can find them on Facebook, Burlington Garden Club. Thank you, Christina. If you have a photo of life in Burlington you'd like to see featured here, email it to us at bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. One last note, the Burlington Historical Society is opening up the Town Museum this Saturday from 11 to 3. It's a great chance to get an up-close and personal look at our past. That's it for this week. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Phil Gallagher, and I'll see you again back here next week. Thank you.